Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Karen Peacock, and I'm the CEO of Intercom. Intercom is a modern customer communications platform that helps companies build strong relationships with their customers and drive growth. Our mission is to make internet business personal, and we're used by marketing teams, by sales teams, by support teams at great companies like Amazon, Shopify, Atlassian, Lyft, and more than 25,000 other fantastic companies to engage and support prospects and customers and build strong relationships and drive growth at scale. Now, before I was at Intercom, I was the SVP of small business for Intuit. And there I helped build one of the world's largest SaaS product lines and grew it to over 2.5 billion in revenue. I'm also on the board of Dropbox. And I share this with you because today I'm going to tell you some of my stories, both successes and failures, and what I learned from those experiences. And as a part of that, I'm going to share with you how to accelerate customer-led growth by shifting your company, your business, and your product to the next gear. So starting by talking about driving. If you talk to any race car driver, they will tell you that the right way to achieve maximum speed and win the race is to accelerate while you are in each turn, right as you hit the apex. And that is the turniest part of the turn. You cannot wait until you are out of the turn and going straight to accelerate. If you wait until then, you will lose way too much momentum and you will keep falling behind your competitors. You have to accelerate through and out of each turn. And that's a great analogy we're going to use throughout today. So if your business is hitting some speed bumps, or if you've got some uncertainty ahead and you're here today, this talk is for you. Now, if your business is doing great and you're flying right now, this talk is also for you because I promise you that at some point you will hit an unforeseen turn in your business and you want to be ready. You want to start building out that next gear of your business before the current gear starts to slow. So today I'm going to share my top 3 strategies to shift up to that next gear. Now, these apply whether you are 1 million in revenue, 100 million, 1 billion, because you always need to be ready to accelerate. So let's start with the first theme, which is really all about knowing your business. Now, when you're in a car, it's very clear when you're approaching a corner. It's obvious when you need to slow down to adjust your course, to accelerate out of there. But in business, it's not always so obvious. So the twists and turns up ahead can sometimes feel like they come out of nowhere. So how do you know when you're approaching a corner in your business so that you can adjust before it's too late and before you lose too much momentum? Now, the first part of the answer is that you have to really know your business. Now, I'm sure each of you know what your revenue and growth look like, but you need to go way beyond that to get a sense of what the road ahead looks like. So the first thing here that I want to share that you need to understand is that averages lie. And I think we all get this conceptually, but let me just share with you an example. If Jeff Bezos walks into a bar with 100 people, suddenly, on average, the net worth of every individual in that bar is instantly over $1 billion on average. Now, is that useful? No. Averages hide the insights. So I've made this mistake before, and I'll tell you the story in just a minute. When we get to the true insights, we're able to significantly accelerate, and I'll tell you how to get there. So the first thing is you have to know your revenue, and most SaaS companies use the metric of annual recurring revenue or monthly recurring revenue. It's the same idea. The next key concept you need to know is your revenue health. And there are 2 main ways SaaS companies should measure revenue health. One is gross revenue retention, or GRR, and the second is net revenue retention, or NRR. And I'm going to explain what both of those are and why they matter. So first up, gross revenue retention. Your gross revenue retention is your ability to retain your customers and retain revenue from those customers. It's calculated by looking at your total revenue, not counting any expansion, minus revenue churn and revenue contraction, which is the customers who stay with you but pay you less, over the revenue that you had at the start of the period. That's your gross revenue retention. And the maximum that can be is 100% by definition. So that's the first metric. The second is your net revenue retention, and that is your ability to retain and expand customers. Your net revenue retention calculates your total revenue, including expansion. So you add in the additional value that you're providing to your existing customers and the additional amount that they are paying you, minus out the revenue, minus the revenue that you lost from churn and from contraction. And this, of course, can be over 100%. And I'll share with you some benchmarks in a few minutes. And together, these two metrics give you the insight that you need into the health of your revenue and how leaky or strong your revenue bucket is. So when both of these revenue retention metrics are strong, you get a beautiful business where every month builds on the past, every year builds on the past, and it will look something like this. It's like a beautiful up and to the right curve. Now, when your revenue health metrics are weak, you get a leaky bucket and your business starts to collapse or at least be much more flat. You have to just work for it every step of the way. And you're really on this kind of a treadmill without any real lift that you're getting. And your business starts to look more like this on the right-hand side. So now story. At Intercom, we're looking at our overall revenue and revenue health metrics, which were very strong, but we were only looking at them in aggregate for the company. And the breakthrough for us came when we started to look at these revenue health metrics by segment. So let's talk about that. You need to think about how to break down your business into the key parts or segments. Now, how should you segment your business? Many different ways you can do this. I would recommend breaking down your business by product, by type of customer, that could be size of customer, different buyers, different geographies, by acquisition channel, by sales motion, and really any other key differences in your customers or business motion. And then for each of those segments, you want to understand your ARR growth, your gross revenue retention, and your net revenue retention. So you want your gross revenue retention by product, your net revenue retention by product, etc. Now for us at Intercom, our aha moment came when we saw our gross revenue retention and net revenue retention by product and by customer segment. And remember, in aggregate, super strong for the company overall. But when we did this, we saw that most of our products were very strong, but one of our products was not as strong as the others. And the strength of the other products hid this. It was a small but growing issue that had been invisible to us. The other product that seemed like it was doing well was actually a bump in the road that we were driving right toward. Now, similarly, one of our customer segments was also weaker in these metrics, and the other segments were so strong that they covered that. And when we realized all of this, we worked in a very focused way on our product, on our strategy, on our pricing and packaging to get all of our core areas strong. And what happened is this massively accelerated our business. And now this is something we look at continuously to not only stay strong, but also get stronger and stronger and accelerate from there. So this is something that you can do. And I bet that at least half of you will find some breakthrough insight from this. If you have a product or customer segment that's growing quickly, but with lower gross revenue retention, net revenue retention, you are building a leakier and leakier bucket, and you're diluting the total value and health of your business. What's happening is you're trading more short-term revenue for more medium and long-term weakness. And so my advice to you is to double down on your products and segments with strong revenue health, with a strong GRR and NRR. And for the parts of your business that you find don't have strong revenue health, that are leaky buckets, figure out how to fix those or get out, or at least don't let them grow as a percentage of your revenue. So look at those metrics now and get those into good shape. And this is how you anticipate the turns in the road that would have otherwise taken you by surprise. Now, I promised you I'd share some benchmarks. I will indeed do that. Here are some good benchmarks to aim for based on who you're selling to. So you should expect higher revenue retention when you're selling to enterprise, lower when you're selling to small business and consumer. And I'll quote Jason Lemkin, who's a wonderful SaaS expert. Your net revenue retention should be broadly in these ranges. If you're selling to the enterprise, you should aim for a net revenue retention of at least 120%. If you're selling to mid-sized companies, your net revenue retention should be at least 110%. And if you're selling to small and medium businesses, your net revenue retention should still be more than 100%, and your net revenue retention for consumer products will vary. So here's what you can take away from this story. If you want insights, you are not going to find them in your top level average numbers. Averages hide the insights. Break your business down and you'll get the insights that you need. Okay. So now you've got the tools to help you see the turns in the road ahead for your business. But how do you know when you're pointing in the right direction? And my biggest piece of advice here is your North Star for your whole life as a company is your customer. You have to know your customers well and continually stay in touch with them and stay on top of their wants and their needs. They face twists and turns in their business just like you, and you want to help them stay a step ahead. And that means continuous work and time with customers. So back in 2009, Forrester outlined the major technology stages that we've been through, including the age of manufacturing, followed by the age of distribution, the age of information. And what they said was this age that we started about 10 years ago was the age of the customer. And we are very much in the heart of that right now. Over the last 10 years, we've seen this increasing focus on meeting needs of customers and moving well beyond just kind of meeting core needs to actually delighting customers. And along the way, customer expectations have gone up dramatically and will continue to climb. And that's a great thing for customers, for all of us in our both personal and business lives, and a great thing for us in businesses and as product leaders because it increases the expectations and keeps us on our toes, helps push us to be better and better. Now, this of course matters for B2C companies, but equally true that B2B companies have to keep pace with consumer expectations. All of your business customers are consumers in other parts of their life, and they bring those expectations with them. As a SaaS company, and I know most everybody here is a SaaS company, you have to re-win your customers month after month and year after year, or somebody else will. So to do this, you need to get a deep understanding of your customers and make this an ongoing part of your work. And this is way more than just conducting surveys or doing interviews, but it's really getting to know them one-on-one, their priorities and goals, how they use your product, what other tools they use, and watch them work and understand why they do what they do. The first aha I'll share with you is to watch what your customers do, not what they say. And let me share a story to illustrate that. When I was at Intuit, we wanted to figure out the next big thing for our QuickBooks product. And we knew that if we didn't, somebody else would. So we went out and spent time with customers. We asked our customers what they most wanted and needed. And what they told us was the one thing that they most wanted from QuickBooks was budgeting. We loved this idea. We said, we would love to build you a fantastic budgeting product. And so we designed mock-ups and prototypes, and we brought customers in and we built it. And we loved the budgeting tool that we had built because our customers had asked for it and they told us this was a great budgeting tool. And when we launched it, do you know what happened? No one used it. What happened was we made a classic mistake. We fell in love with the solution, not the problem. And what you need to do is fall in love with the problem, not the solution. When we went back to customers, we watched them because we were wondering what in the world happened. They said they wanted budgeting was the number one thing they wanted. And then we built it and they didn't use it. So what is going on? So we went back and we started watching customers, and our aha was they never actually spent time budgeting. Budgeting was tomorrow's problem, not today. And what they did instead, like, so why in the world were they asking for it? What we saw they did instead was spend time sorting through piles, either online or physically, of bills that they needed to pay, invoices of customers who needed to pay them money, to try and figure out how to match those together. And fundamentally, their problem was, I can't pay my bills. And that's why they were asking for budgeting. But what they really had was a problem of not being able to pay their bills. So we went back to first principles and built out a very simple cash management solution and a financing marketplace. And that quickly became used by hundreds and thousands of customers. And now the key takeaway that I have for you in this is we fell in love with the solution, which was budgeting, not the problem, which was I can't pay my bills. And you have to do the opposite. You have to fall in love with the problem, not the solution. Know your customers, focus on their problems, watch what they do, not what they say, and use that to guide you in the right direction. So now the final strategy. This stage, you know your business and you know your customers and you're pointed to your North Star and you're all set to win, right? Well, not yet. So in fact, one of the most important steps is this last one. You have to create and keep creating an exceptional end-to-end experience for your customers. You have to actively design it. Before the age of the customer that we just talked about began, before the age of SaaS, the customer journey was very much an afterthought. That's all changed. Now you need to think far beyond your customer and far beyond just your product, and consider the overall end-to-end experience that your prospects and customers have with you. It has to be an experience that you're proud of. And there's a simple litmus test that I like for this. And that is, if your friend went through this experience, would you feel proud and great about it? So you need to think about how your marketing teams touch and interact with your customers, how your sales teams communicate with your customers, the product experience your customers have, and your support experience. And along the way, winning and re-winning your customers' trust and business and building on it. And this is the flywheel effect that all entrepreneurs and companies are or should be building toward. And through this, one of the things that's happening is that the lines between sales and marketing and product and support are blurring. For example, when a customer reaches out with a question while they are on a free trial, is that a support issue, a sales issue? The answer is yes, it's both. When a customer is intrigued by your outbound marketing, reaches out to ask a question, is that a marketing or sales or support issue? Yes, yes, yes. So the goal is to orient around the customer and figure out the best way to delight your customer and do it in a way that's efficient and scalable for you. Now, companies that force a customer to jump between silos or force them to repeat information at every stage, treating them in a totally impersonal way, will lose. Companies that instead orient around the customer with a single view of the customer and relationship, where the whole team is working together for and with the customer, will win. So remember earlier when we were talking about gross revenue retention, net revenue retention, how critical they were to identifying the health of your business, the ever expanding business versus the collapsing business. Retention is key. But how do you drive strong retention? You do that by building strong customer relationships, a delightful customer experience at every stage. And the core of this is strong communications with your customers. And you have to do this in a way that scales. Out of context outreach, like a promotional email and vendor calls, less and less effective. The wrong time, the wrong place. To engage your customers, you need to be where they are when they are thinking of you, with a message and value prop that's relevant to them, gives them value and a clear next step. Now at Intercom, we believe this deeply and are dedicated to helping companies do this, because when they do, it works for their customers and for them. For example, when companies engage their prospects on their website using Intercom, those prospects are 82% more likely to convert. And when companies engage their customers using in-app rich targeted messaging, they see 3 to 4 times the engagement of email messaging. Why? Because the customer is already in your product and is already thinking about you. So they're happy to get a relevant, personalized outreach from you. Now, when companies get proactive and reach out to customers who have a problem before the customer reaches out to them for help, they see both happier customers and lower costs and find themselves more able to scale. So we see this over and over with our customers. So for example, Atlassian sales and support teams use Intercom as their modern customer communication platform, and they engage customers and prospects and also support customers in their growth products. And on the support side, they're seeing an under 3-minute first response time, and Intercom is now their fastest channel to resolve issues. They're delivering more convenient, more personal prospect and customer experience with a modern customer communication platform. And that helps them increase customer engagement, customer satisfaction, and retention. Stewart uses Intercom to provide faster, more efficient, more personal communication with their customers than previous standalone channels like email or SMS. They're now having over 40,000 customers in Intercom every week and are seeing a 60% engagement rate on their marketing messaging. And they've successfully onboarded over 17,000 users with our product tours in the last year. I'll just give one more customer example. Spendesk switched from Zendesk to Intercom as their single platform for customer communication. Now, using Intercom, Spendesk has been able to massively scale their customer support, reducing their first response time by 80% and achieving a 96.5% customer satisfaction score. Now, that is how you drive world-class customer communications and customer experiences every day. So customers expect consumer-grade experiences across all of their experiences. The future of customer communication is two-way, it's conversational, it's relevant for each customer. Personalized, in-context experiences win. And when your customers win, you win. So let me just summarize everything that we just talked about, all in one master takeaway slide for you all. The 3 key ways to shift to that next gear are: first, know your business. Averages hide the insights. Next, know your customers. Use them as your true north and fall in love with the problem, not the solution. And finally, third, build a delightful end-to-end customer experience. Personalized, in-context, scalable customer experiences win. Now is the time to lean in and accelerate. I hope you've gotten some good ideas here today. We love to write and share what we've learned at Intercom to help others along the way. So if you'd like to learn more, a good next step is our growth handbook, which is available for free on the Intercom site, and a good collection of very actionable strategies from industry leaders. We also have our Scale blog and podcast on our site, which have tons of great resources on how to grow your business. You can also follow me on Twitter at Karen Peacock. I want to thank you all and wish you all the very best.